three, and correct me if I'm wrong if there are more, but three interesting moving parts, depth chart wise, on offense last night that I want you to tell me your thoughts on, and maybe which one you think is the most notable. So without Landon Dickerson, Brett Toth got the first shot at left guard, a bit of a surprise, and then later in practice, Trevor Keegan took the reps with the ones. That's one of them. CJ Uzama working in with the ones as the number 2 tight end in place of Grant Calcaterra yesterday. That's number 2. And then number 3, Johnny Wilson, the 6th round wide receiver who got a little bit of gas from Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni before practice. Substitutes in the red zone, gets a corner fade from Jalen Hurts with Keely Ringo in coverage, does not haul it in, but, notable that he goes in and he stayed in the red zone and worked a little bit with the ones throughout the rest of practice. Which of those three do you find the most interesting moving forward?
Well, I find the most consequential to be Johnny Wilson.
I agree.
And the reason I say that is I do think Johnny Wilson has a chance to factor into the number 3 receiver spot. I asked Nick Sirianni before practice, based on kind of Britton Covey's question about how the number 3 receiver here isn't ball-centric and you're kind of looking for a player who fits there between AJ and DeVonta, or with AJ and DeVonta, I should say. And I said, so are they looking for a particular skill set as opposed to just kind of like the most talented player? And he made the reference that it could be it doesn't have to be one guy. Like, there could be times when you want Johnny Wilson's size. There could be times when you want Parris Campbell's yards after the catch. There could be times when you want John Ross's speed. There could be times when you want Britton Covey's route running, right? But I think the inclusion of Johnny Wilson there is noteworthy, because I imagine there will be times when the Eagles will want Johnny Wilson's size. Jalen Hurts, like you mentioned, used he said during his media availability that the work that they did during the summer is paying off. And he gave the example of Johnny Wilson making 2 nice catches during one-on-ones in the end zone. And the two of them, Jalen and Johnny Wilson, worked together. I definitely think he's ahead of Anaya Smith at this point, and I think he's pushing to have a role on Sundays. So we'll get your thoughts there. But as far as the first two, I don't put as much stock into the Brett Toth one. I think that's just a veteran who Stoutland.
He's the only interior guy who is a holdover. He's the only one who's been here. Yeah,
exactly. And then CJ Uzama, yeah, I mean, that's interesting because I said on yesterday's show, Grant Calcaterra is like the clear number 2. That's the way they're talking about it. Uzama has more experience, so maybe that's worth watching. But I do think Wilson's the most consequential of all of these.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt Wilson's the most consequential. And I think, as underwhelmed as I have been by the other wide receivers, and as much as I still expect them to potentially add at some point, I said earlier this week, I would like to see Johnny Wilson getting more time with the ones now, because I think he has the most upside there. And, the more reps he gets with Jalen Hurts, the better. And I think if you are just trying to clear a low bar, some combination of Johnny Wilson and Britton Covey is probably good enough to get it done. It's not ideal. You would like some more there, but if those two guys are splitting your wide receiver 3 reps based on the situations, then maybe you could do worse than that. And I think coaches maybe sometimes overvalue the blocking, but that was the first thing that Sirianni mentioned about Johnny Wilson yesterday in his press conference. So for a rookie, like, that's a good way to get on the field. And then if he gets a target a game, that's not that bad. And so yeah, I think in service of the team being better as the season goes on, I think Johnny Wilson should be getting these reps now.
Yeah, if they combined and then split Covey and Wilson, you'd have like a 6'1", 200-pound wide receiver who gets in and out of breaks and can also be physical downfield. So
Johnny Covey.